So Nancy Drew, Sea of Darkness came out a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, something like that. Now, as many of you may know, or at least some of you may know, I am a huge fan of the Nancy Drew PC games. So I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, GD17402, what is the best Nancy Drew game, or what are the top 10 Nancy Drew games? And then I got it. I should make a list about this. I will be excluding Sea of Darkness from this video though, because in my opinion, it's just too new to analyze just yet. At the bottom of the list, we have Ransom of the Seven Ships. I originally didn't have this on the first script, but after a bit of fine-tuning, it knocked the final scene off the number 10 spot. In the game, you need to find Bess, Nancy's best friend, who has been kidnapped. This game got some points because this is the first time Bess and her cousin George appear in the games in person, as close to an actual person a pixelated person can get. The game takes place on a tropical island resort, so the scenery, of course, is gorgeous. Lots and lots of palm trees. Most of the puzzles are pretty okay as far as fun, and then there are the few that are just plain boring and time-consuming, like this hourglass puzzle. I can spend just about an hour or so trying to solve it, and I still can't get it because of the almost pixel-perfect timing. Also, apart from George, Cuckoo, and the monkeys on the island, the only other character you can talk to is this boring beach bum named Johnny Roll. Basically, all you have to do is get stuff from him. Enough said, let's move on. Oh my god, this game has Bill Nye written all over it. The deadly device, murder, with a Tesla coil. I like this game for the following reasons. Ryan Kilpatrick, first of all. She reminds me so much of myself and has a very funny sense of humor.
As long as you promise to throw it into a fiery volcano once it's completed. That thing is the undisputed mayor of Nightmare Town.
Okay, maybe I'm the only one that finds that humorous. Second are all the science-related puzzles, but some are not exactly fun at all. That makes... Also, this place is amazing! It's like the frickin' 9 laboratories in here! Just look at it! Also, you can die from putting water into a bottle? And finally, it's fun to screw around with Mason's desk when he's not there.
You look a little upset.
Someone moved my things. Someone will pay.
Warnings at Waverly Academy. I don't know why, but there's something appealing about a video game set in an all-girls boarding school. Maybe it's because all the characters are somebody we can relate to in real life. Maybe it's because you feel like you're leading a double life behind all your friends' backs. Maybe it's because of the obsession of trying to collect as many credits as you can while working at your dead-end job at the snack bar. Whatever the reason, I love this game enough to put it in the number 8 spot. The puzzles are quite enjoyable for the most part, and there's one that I still need to walk through to beat, but other than that, they're all good. My favorite character in the game is the resident goth girl, Mel. She has the personality I wish I had. Cool on the outside with a small soft spot on the inside.
As long as you go get me some milk and a cookie from the snack shop. It's not that I'm too lazy to do it myself, it's just that...
You have a certain image to maintain.
And milk and cookies don't exactly enhance it.
My babe. Ah, Patty. Bonjour. Les Teufel. Croissants. Danger by design! You were hired to figure out why top fashion designer Minette has been falling behind in her spring collection. Or something like that. I haven't played the game in a while. Either way, I enjoy the characters, yes, even Jean's jerk attitude and Minette's violent mood swings. The characters and the setting make up for most of the puzzles. The setting because, well, it's freaking Paris. And the characters mainly because there's a lot of tension between everybody. It's not that the puzzles are bad or anything, they're just not that great. Mostly because they're just basic logic puzzles, and especially this one because I just completely give up because I blow up every time I try to attempt it. Come on, come on. Almost got it.
Uh-oh. One chemical plus another chemical equals...
God! I'm so done with this stupid piece of Deception Island. What's not to love about it? You got hospitable characters, decent puzzles, secret passages, and fog, which gives it a mysterious effect. You can sneak around a ship and purposely get caught, search for clams, and build sandcastles. Also, experimenting with all the ways you can give people food poisoning. I mainly put this one this high on the list because of the characters and places to explore. The puzzles were pretty fun up until the 5th time playing through, but after that it got kind of dull. The middle is basically just one big fetch quest, running back and forth and plugging in GPS coordinates. My favorite place to go in the game is Whale World. I can't explain why, I just like this place, probably because it reminds me of the museums I went to as a kid. Also, you win a free whale watching tour.
Thank you for the great tour, and for letting me use your camera.
My pleasure.
Whee! The Haunted Carousel is one of the most fun games in the series, mostly because I associate with all the times where I went to the amusement park when I was little. Also, quick true story, I got my fingernail ripped off in the ring dispenser in the carousel. The puzzles in this game are very whimsical and dangerous at times, but mostly I like the midway puzzles because you can suck up the job with a reason. Yeah? Oh, don't worry, boss. I'm just playing this game because I need a token for a toy boat that I will totally need later in my case. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. The characters in this game are pretty dull, but the one that I like best is probably Elliot, a good-hearted slacker with a love for solving puzzles.
A riddle. I love riddles. Okay, let's see.
Riddles. I'm sorry. Whatever. Joy is okay, but her voice is very monotone. And the other two characters, Ingrid and Harlan, they just plain out annoy me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some very important business to take care of. The Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon is one of those mystery settings that you read about in books. A select group of people are invited and you have to solve puzzles and find clues to get to the treasure. Also, this game is full of those characters that you love to hate. Kim Kardashian and Tina Baldu. Oh, I'm not allowed to say that.
Baffling case. Two-man team at 17 banks in 3 states in 5 days. FBI had no idea who the perps were. But after forcing their vehicle to a stop, confronting them, despite the fact that they were armed and giving chase, I single-handedly made the collar.
I heard all they had was a plastic knife from a carry-out chicken place.
You heard wrong.
I feel like it's worth pointing out that this is the first game that has the Hardy Boys in it. So, that's a big plus. Like the flag in Switzerland. Did I mention this game takes place on a train? Well, you probably already figured that out considering that it's in the title. So yeah, there's another classic for a mystery. Puzzles, I might add, are actually very interesting and fit very well with a classic mystery setting. Old creepy dolls and moldy old dance shoes. There's this one section at the end of the game where you get off the train, but all that seems to do is to annoy the crap out of you with a stupid racing game in this other game that sort of resembles pachinko that I never seem to get until about an hour later. Also,
Cheeseburger.
at the number 3 spot, we have The Silent Spy. I like this game because it's like Her Interactive read my mind and gave me a mystery to find out what happened to Nancy's mother. And then you can get all this cool spy gear, and then you start doing cool spy stuff, and look at this cabin! If you thought that wasn't cool, I know you're lying. Although it's cool to talk to all the cool spies that used to work with Kate Drew, I've always seemed to have gravitated towards the more interesting characters. Which easily goes to say that Bridget is my favorite character. She's just so cool and full of energy, and I don't know, I can't really quite describe her.
Can I follow you around for a whole lot?
You seem really nice.
The nicest? Ask me, Gran.
But I can't really have anyone following me. Please, don't take it personally.
No, I understand.
Yep, that just about sums it up. I should point out that the puzzles are just as awesome as the theme, and you get to defuse a bomb and save the world. Alright, I've got this. The fate of the world rests solely on my shoulders. All I need to do is stay calm and just... Oops. The Secret of the Old Clock, the mystery that started it all. Though it's not the first game in the series, it did start Nancy's detective career. Set in the 1930s, the game has a charm that I just can't describe. Maybe it has to do with the fact that not many games are set in the 1930s, and it's a new experience, living in the time our grandparents used to grow up in. All the puzzles are mostly very simple logic puzzles, but I feel like that's appropriate considering that this was a somewhat simpler time. The characters are still somewhat dull with dialogue, except maybe Richard, but I mostly like him because he has a cat and his frequent talk about his mind powers. But even though the main characters are kind of boring, it's the background ones that have delivered some of the best lines in video games ever.
Of course it tastes bad, Clarence. It's a pine cone. I better go rinse out his mouth before... Oh, would you look at that? He's actually chewing it. You're not a squirrel, Clarence. Spit that out this instant. Now do run along. My guests will be arriving any minute. And that dress of yours, it's, well...
I like this dress. It's very flouncy.
Finally, Shadow at the Water's Edge, possibly the scariest Nancy Drew game in the series. The game takes place in a haunted Japanese inn, and it's clear that this place is freaky. To amp up the scary factor, the game only allows you to play at nighttime. When I first started playing this game, I was so genuinely scared that I was afraid to be alone in the dark for about 2 years. Aside from the creepiness factor, the characters are really interesting. Of course, sticking to the weird people, I like Rentaro and Yumi the best. Rentaro because he works with robots and gives me puzzles, and Yumi because she's just so... Yumi. Yeah. On top of all the puzzles of traditional and modern Japanese culture, there are plenty of Rentaro's puzzles to solve and phone chimes to collect if you get bored. Also, you can make avatars for your phone contacts, which I thought was a very nice feature. And that is why I believe that Shadow at the Water's Edge is the #1 Nancy Drew game in the series.